A lot of content creators like to say US lost this war, US lost that war. In fact, I saw somebody saying that US has never won a ground invasion and so on, you know. So, but let's look at history. Okay, let's look at history of US losses. So, for instance, after the Second World War, US fought against Vietnam, which is a very famous example. And to tell you how bad it was, the Viet Congs, all right, Viet Congs, they've already fought France for 10 years. France tried to colonize them. They fought France for 10 years until they surrounded French troops. Bro, they rounded up French troops. The French troops had to start calling for help from international treaty. Please beg these people not to wipe us out. So they now have to sign a deal that they are going to leave Vietnam, all right, for them not to be wiped out. It was a serious 15,000 elite French troops were rounded up. Okay, but when they were leaving, I think they signed a deal with US or invited them, whichever one. As the French left, the US came in and the war started all over again. So they fought US for another 10 years. Guess what? US still pulled out after 10 years of dropping. In fact, the bombs they dropped in Vietnam is still on world record as the highest bomb ever dropped anywhere. The number of bombs they dropped, still, they left. So now this is what people are calling victory, right? But where is Vietnam today? Where is Vietnam? All these things that is happening in the world politics. Have you ever heard Vietnam anywhere? Do you understand? The country is thrown back, stone ages. Yes, if you go there, you see one or two towns that are okay, but bro, the country is gone, bro, since that time. Now, after that, US fought with North Korea. Now, that was because North Korea invaded South Korea, which is a US ally. When they invaded South Korea, they tried to unify the country. They conquered South Korea up till the last beach. I think they call it Seoul or something. Then US Army arrived and started winning them, pushed them back beyond South Korea, beyond North Korea. Most of North Korean soldiers escaped into China. And then Chinese soldiers bounced back with pressure. And meanwhile, the US, as they bounced back, the war intensified. You understand? So US started losing ground, and the US president at that time said he doesn't want to fight war. The generals were telling him to reinforce the soldiers. The guy said everybody should pull out of. You understand? So they pulled out. And it was so terrible because many soldiers had to walk the whole distance. Many US soldiers. It was a horrid pulling back. So by the end of the day, the lines of North and South Korea were drawn exactly where it was. And that's how it has been till today. But my brother, where is North Korea today? Have you been to South Korea? One of the best countries in the world. Where is North Korea? One of the most ancient, abandoned countries in the world. The little rocket man there is always just testing his rockets, but there's no development in the country. The country is gone. Have you seen it on the map, like Google Map at night? You know, city lights will be showing at night on Google Map. The only country that there's no city lights is in North Korea. Everywhere is black at night. They don't no electricity. So at the end, US fought Libya. Gaddafi wanted to change from selling in petrodollars to using gold. And US told him, you can't change, you can't make that change, bro. Guess what? Gaddafi fought US and NATO, but we know that NATO is US per se. Bro, they wiped Gaddafi, wiped the whole country. Till today, Libya was thrown back 400 years. If you know what Libya was during Gaddafi's tenure, if you know, in Libya that time, if you give birth, they give you, is it $5,000 or $50,000? If you just bump a cane, government will give you money. If you marry, government will give you a location house, this, that. Everywhere was so good. But all that thing was lost in 9 months, I 11 months of war. All the roads, bridges, buildings, institutions, everything. Bro, Libya was thrown way back. Now they are trying to rebuild. Was it worth it? It wasn't. That war was not worth it. You know, if Gaddafi wanted to save his people, he would have, you know, Sign the deal. We saw what the Venezuelan VP did. They woke up one morning and saw that their president was already in US. The US came at night and arrested their whole president and his wife. At first, the woman started making speeches against US. We're not going to tolerate this. We'll rise up against foreign influence of US. And Venezuela's people stormed the streets with guns and weapons, and they were marching and protesting. They were ready for war, but the woman calculated and said, "Omo, we can't do this shit. Do we really want to fight US? Like, we'll leave the governing of our people and start fighting a superpower?" She agreed to sign a deal. So now the deal involved US getting some oil, Venezuela getting some of the oil. I think US team is in Venezuela telling her how to run the government. But the thing is that life got so much better for the Venezuelan citizen that they did a recent poll, where they now voted that Trump should come and rule them after he has done US tenure. After he's done as US president, they want Trump to contest against this woman. The people of Venezuela, they are demanding now that the statue of Trump should be molded in the center of the city in Venezuela. That's how, because it's different from, let me tell you, there's a difference between a country making money and the citizens making money. A country can be making money from oil, but the politicians are taking it. But for the money to trickle down to the citizens is different. And I think that's what happened in Venezuela when the US team took over. Some of the money was not able to get to the average citizen. Life got better for the average Joe on the streets. So many prisoners were released. You see how Venezuela is getting better? Imagine that they took the option of fighting US. The whole country would have been like in smokes, up in smokes now. You understand? See what happened in Iraq. Saddam Hussein woke up one day and decided to take Kuwait because his country was having an economic crisis. He felt that Kuwait has oil, and Kuwait used to be part of Iraq. Whatever. He invaded. Kuwait is very tiny. That one, it was a simple, easy invasion for him. US fought back. Bro, they wipe Iraq. They wipe Iraq. You understand? They wipe Iraq. Iraq used to be a superpower in that region. They wipe till today. Iraq has not recovered. Iraq, Iraq. Do you know the Iraqi army is made up of militias? You understand? It's just the equivalent of Nigerian army being made up of a section of Boko Haram, a section of IPOP, a section of what is this Sunday Igboho. They don't have control. The central does not have control over this section. Right now, a section of Iraqi army is fighting the US. The other section is in support. That's how fucked up Iraq is now. And this used to be a superpower because what? They fought US. Now look at what is happening with Iran today. You understand? Iran built itself to a superpower. When US made demands and said, you cannot build nuclear weapons, you understand? We have to investigate your weapons to be sure that you are not doing nuclear enrichment. They were doing deals over the years, but Iran was still doing the nuclear thing. What they did now was they went to a mountain and built 100 meters underground, a city, 100 meters underground. You know, 100 meters, the length of distance that they run during Olympics, like Usain Bolt, 100 meters underground, and started doing nuclear enrichment there, knowing that US bombs cannot get there. So now look at the war that is happening. Everything that Ayatollah built for 47 years, everything that the whole Iranian brain, Iranians are very smart. You know who they be? They are Persians. You know all those Anunnaki. Now them, now them be those that it's their culture, that Anunnaki culture and Enki and whatever. Now them, they are so smart. But guess what? They don't. They have wiped Iran. Iran is gone. Many people still think Iran is in the fight. Iran is gone. You understand? Iran, they don't wipe all those things that they built for 47 years. US has leveled most of them. And in the coming weeks now, you will see say nothing will remain. So Iran has lost everything they built, everything that made them proud, everything that made them a superpower, a feared power in that region. They have lost it all. Most of the Sahid drones, it was their drones that made them superpower. Most of those drones, the underground city where it was buried has been bombed. So the whole thing is collapsed on the drones. They don't even have drones again. They are hardly able to strike things again. They've lost total air superiority. I saw a US fighter jet dancing around a Sahid drone yesterday. Like they shot a drone, a fighter jet was just doing like this behind the drone because he wants to shoot it down, but he's just playing first. Inside Iran, like Iranians were just videoing their sky. There's no air defense systems left. US planes are just playing in their sky. Iran don't go. Do you know how many of their generals, how many of their politicians and leaders they have lost? Meanwhile, Israeli drones are in the sky, picking them off one by one, picking them off. All their installations, the one that was bombed the other day was their electricity, part of the town, the electricity went out. They are going back into the Middle Ages. Now the question is, was the war worth it? Even if US end the war today, many of these bloggers will still say US lost the war. Lost waiting. Have you been to US? Did you do you think that the citizens in US are noticing anything? It's not like anything is happening to them. All these wars I mentioned, nothing happened to US. The US citizens, nothing happened to them. The country that was fighting for its life is the one that US invaded. Look at Iran fighting for its life. Meanwhile, US is perfectly okay. And all US sent is just a handful of warships. Like, I think 20 to 30% of US Navy is what is fighting Iran and giving Iran this hell. A handful of fighter jets. Most of the fighter jets are even A-10 Warthogs. That A-10 was a 1977 plane. Now they give Iran problem. 1977. If they decide to unleash their stealth modern fighter jets. So what am I saying, right? Forget what is all these nonsense analysts are saying on the internet. Yes, anybody can support any team. You can support Iran, you can support US, but when it comes to war, you have to weigh the consequences properly. Some people just get carried away, like Gaddafi. He got carried away with the Libyan military. You understand? What happened in Libya is exactly what is happening in Iran today. When they wanted to remove Gaddafi, protests started in Libya. You understand? And they were warning, US was warning Gaddafi, don't shoot the protesters. Gaddafi went and shot them. Boom, full-scale war, invasion. That was what happened in Iran. Protests just started from nowhere. Massive protest. And Trump was warning. We all were here throughout December. Trump was warning them, don't shoot the protesters. If you start shooting them, we will start, will come. You understand? So, but guess what? At the end of the day, this is Iran today. The country is gone. Everything they built is gone. Do you know how many years it will take them? Maybe 100, 200 years to even recover from that. All what they have lost today. All those mountains that were bombed, they can't build anything on it again. Do you understand? All those mountains that were bombed and all those underground cities collapsed. They can't build anything again there. So it's unfortunate that most people will miscalculate, but before you fight a superpower like US or Russia, you understand, you have to think twice. Do you know what Ukraine is going through now? Half of Ukraine, I would say 20-30% of Ukraine is lost to Russia. Even that 20-30% is wasteland. All the cities they have there, all the villages, all the towns, all the buildings, everything is flat. It's just like Russia is doing demolition in Ukraine. Just like free demolition in Ukraine. Yes, of course, they may not be getting the success they want in terms of as efficient as US in terms of victory in Ukraine, but Ukraine has been losing ever since the day the war started. So when it comes to global politics, you should know when, or wars, you should know when you're up against a superpower and you step down. We saw what happened in Syria when Assad was up against Obama and thinking that Russia will help him. Russia helped, but where is Syria today? Syria was totally wasted. It was Trump that now brought one of the militia leaders and made him president, current president of Syria. At the end, the president of Syria ran away. Assad, he ran to Russia with his wife, he escaped. So was all that war necessary? It wasn't necessary. When a superpower comes to your doorstep or more, you got to sign deal if you really want to save your people. That shows you that most of these leaders that are fighting wars, they are selfish. If Gaddafi had signed a deal, Libya would have still been the best country in Africa today. You know, so sometimes the deal may not be comfortable, but if you're up against a superpower, what's the alternative? They wipe you. They will show you why they are the superpower. Please share this video to all these fake analysts on internet.